You clicked on this video right when you needed to see it. Now, I don't know what you're going through right now. Maybe it's just the pressure of the job that you're in. Maybe you don't have a job and you're navigating the job market and you're getting frustrated because it's just rejection after rejection. Maybe it's with the dating market, taking L after L, getting ghosted. Maybe you lost someone close to you. Maybe you've, got over a breakup. Maybe you just have so many things on your plate that you feel like you can't handle it. Maybe it's trying to finish college and you have so much pressure and so much stress that you feel like you're about to break. Maybe you feel like you can't hang on any longer. Well, if any of those things at all are you, then this video is definitely for you. Look, I went in the Marine Corps straight out of high school when I was 19 years old. And I remember, I'm now 34, when I was in boot camp, it was the hardest thing I'd ever been through at the time. And this is coming from, someone who didn't really have a masculine leader to guide me as I needed. So I went in the military and I'm going through boot camp. And I just remember getting my ass handed to me. Like, it was hard. And I honestly didn't think that I was going to make it through. Getting yelled at constantly, seeming like I was overworked and food and sleep deprived and, the emotional abuse. I mean, it's just how the system is. It's how the military is, especially Marine Corps boot camp. But I remember specifically, I was on the rifle range and I failed the first qualification to pass to even do the minimum the first time. And I remember writing a letter to my mom and saying, I don't know if I'm going to make it because I was sick as well. And then what happens if you get sick is you have to drop. If you get sick and you can't participate anymore, you get dropped to the next platoon, the next class that comes in. So I have to start all the way over. And the rifle range is about halfway in the 13 weeks, okay? And I failed the first time. And it just wasn't clicking for me because I had never really shot a gun before. And I've got, redneck dudes out here that were, grew up hunting and they're crushing it, right? Or maybe they just had marksmanship experience before. I didn't have any experience shooting a gun at all. First time I ever shot a gun was in Marine Corps boot camp. And everything was just kind of taking a long time for me to quit. I was always the slower one. I was naive. I was slower. It was, kind of hard for me to figure things out. And I was really, really struggling. And I failed the first rifle range, and then I had to go requal. And, I'm sick, and I finally passed the rifle range. But that wasn't over. It wasn't over. I remember the last thing that we did was called the Crucible. And I think this was back in 2010, but I think it was over 3 days, food deprived, sleep deprived, mentally exhausted. And this is at the very end. It's like the Crucible is like the final culminating event. And it's basically everything we've been trained for all comes together in this 3-day operation type thing. And then I think the last hike we did is 16 miles or 13 or 16 miles or something like that. And, by this point, my feet had this fungus or something. Literally, this is gross, but literally my feet smelled so bad. And if you look at them, they were peeling. I could hardly walk. It was bad. I had an infection. And it's because we didn't really get a lot of time to clean. They would literally run us through the shower. We hardly got to clean ourselves properly. We didn't get to clean ourselves properly at all. And it's just not having good, thorough hygiene. And that's just how it is. This happens. It's quite common. And, I've got this infection, and I did this final event, this Crucible, and this hike with my feet in this condition because I didn't want to quit. I had poured so much into this. Before I went in the Marine Corps, I had prepped for a year and a half before, running every day. I started when I was a junior in high school, running 2-3 miles every day. My senior year, I was locked in. I was I was training with other Marines, with other police, other future recruits and Marines to help train us, doing that for a year before, man. I had poured so much into it. And I wasn't going to get recycled back and start over at the end because I can hardly walk. What am I going to do? No, I have the injury, I have the infection, I'll push through it. And, I made it through, man. I made it through. And I just remember for the first time in my life, I was so proud when I completed it. when they gave us our Eagle Globe and Anchor, which is what you get when you graduate boot camp, the drill instructor gives it to you. I'm standing and tears running down my face because for the first time in my life, I persevered through something that I didn't think that I was going to make it through. And this really laid the foundation for me in my building my resilience and my internal confidence. And then, I went on, did 4 years in infantry in the Marine Corps. I was in combat at the age of 20, combat deployment in Afghanistan for 7 months. That was intense. I mean, talk about testing your limits. I didn't know if I was going to make it home alive. You step on a bomb, blow your leg off. I mean, I knew guys where this happened. Literally guys who just got back that lost people. And then I went on to being a certified personal trainer and finishing college. It took me 7 years to finish college. Actually, it was in 2021 that I'm finishing my last semester of college, and I'm working 2 jobs, and I'm doing personal training, trying to run my own personal training business. And dude, I had so much stuff on my plate, so much pressure. And then I ended up going into a corporate sales job. But my point in saying all this is like, don't give up. But maybe you should give up. It depends on what it is. And so there's 5 main things that I really want to try to hit on today. Getting through tough times, the first point. Every man faces seasons of darkness where you feel like the world is crashing down, where you have such a massive load on you, so much stress, so much pressure. And every man goes through this. I've hit rock bottom probably 3 times. I'm 34. Since I was 20 years old, probably at least 3 times. It's just a part of it, right? And the reality is, if you don't have a crisis in your life every 12 to 18 months to some capacity, you're not doing big enough things in your life. Okay? But you just gotta understand that it's having a resilient mindset and understanding that what I'm going through right now is making me sharper. It's making me more resilient. And you turn the pain into power, turn your pain into progress, and keep pushing through. Now, maybe it's not worth it. It depends, though, and we'll get to that. But you just have to stay resilient no matter what you're going through in your life. No matter what you're going through. We all face darkness. We all face tough times, and that's just how life is, right? It's to be expected, so we can appreciate more when things are a bit smoother, when things seem to be going right. Because it's only a matter of time before something goes wrong. But that's just how life is. All right? It's just the wild card of life. And I think having that perspective, viewing it through that lens, like, you know what? I appreciate how good things are right now. And so the next time things smooth out for you, that's what I want you to do. The next time things smooth out for you, I want you to just be present and appreciate how things are going. Because it's only a matter of time before, shit hits the fan, okay? Now, the second thing is expect to get knocked down, right? Like I said, that's life. Expect to get knocked down. And if you're trying to, achieve something that most people can't, like, me going into the Marine Corps, getting a crazy shredded physique, going from 30% body fat to, 8% body fat in, 16 weeks, doing, starting your own business, trying to start YouTube like I did. I mean, you're going to get knocked down, you're going to get rejection, but you use that as feedback and fuel, okay? And we keep moving, we keep pressing forward. Failure isn't the enemy, it's proof that you're in the arena. At least you're stepping into the arena. If you're not getting knocked down, if you're not failing often, then are you really growing? Because are you really putting yourself in uncomfortable situations to grow? Seek discomfort, seek this pain. It's really through that we learn so much about ourselves. And, I've said this before, but life is suffering, right? So choose your suffering in life and what's worth suffering for. The next point that I hit on is just show up consistently. Like, don't give up. No matter what you're doing, you have to put in the reps, showing up consistently. When I started YouTube this year in January, I decided I was going to go all in with YouTube, post a video a day and not stop. And I said, you know what? I'm going to give this YouTube thing a try. And I'll try it for 10 years. And if I don't get any traction or growth whatsoever after 10 years, then maybe I'll quit because obviously I suck. But I did, and I started getting some traction, and I started meeting mentors along the way that helped me grow. And now I have a business coach, and we actually just released a free training. If you're really serious about leveling up in your life, whether it's confidence, attracting beautiful women, figuring out your purpose, crushing vices, or you just lost, any of that stuff, free training, it's in the description, check it out. But, I've realized that you just have to show up consistently. And I post a video a day. I think now I'm posting like maybe 3 a week now because I've got other things that I'm focused on, trying to balance everything. But I realize it's about showing up consistently with the relationship. If you want to attract the right woman, you want to attract the right partner, right? Go on 100 dates. You can't have, 3 bad experiences and then say like, oh, it's the dating market's fucked. Like, yeah, it is tough out here, but get the reps in, show up consistently, go on more dates. You want a great relationship to meet the right person? Go on 100 dates. You want to make that sale? Make 100 sales calls. You want to, have an awesome physique? 100 gym sessions. Okay, what is that? It's, I don't know. It's more than 12 weeks if you're going 4 or 5 times a week. Okay, so it's just gonna be the reps. You got to keep showing up. You got to be showing up when most people don't want to show up. Because that's the thing too. I've realized, even with doing YouTube, building the business, there's times where, I work a lot of the weekends. I'm working, because I'll have a 9-to-5 job. So, I'll work before work. I'll work at lunch. I'll work in the evening. And then, just this past weekend, I was up till like 6 p.m. until 3 a.m. on a Saturday night when people are partying, and I'm working on building this course out for the Ascended Man. So it's just knowing that you're going to have to put in more work than most people, and you just got to keep showing up. And eventually something's going to stick, and we iterate as we go, and we reiterate, and we refine, and we show up, and we get those training sessions in when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. And maybe you're struggling with your physique and you're wanting, progress and try to drop the body fat and build the physique up, and it's taking forever. Show up consistently, keep at it, because most people quit right when they're at that point when they start to, they're starting to get warmed up. That's where most people quit, right when they're about to be on the breaking point of transformation. It's people quit, man. First time I got a 6-pack was when I was in Afghanistan. I went over to Afghanistan, had a very mid body, no 6-pack, no great genetics, nothing. Like literally no one in my family's in really good shape. No one in my family's ever even had a 6-pack. But I went to Afghanistan. I said, hey, I'm obviously not gonna be able to get big here because I'm gonna burn a lot of calories and be in a massive calorie deficit. But at least I can get shredded. In 6 months, I got absolutely shredded. Why? I was training my abs every single day. I was working out every day, in the gym, running in 115, 20 degree heat in Afghanistan, the Middle East. I made it happen. You just got to keep pushing, and you got to show up when you don't feel like it, because it's through those times that the man is made, especially the times that you don't feel like doing it, right? If I only worked out when I felt like it, I'd be a fat motherfucker. I'll be honest with you. I really would be. Right. If any of this is resonating with you right now, I want you to drop a comment. Let me know in the comments, like, what's the one thing that you're struggling with right now in your life that you're thinking about giving up? Let me know. I want to know. The next point is very, very important. Okay. Now, it's the power of purpose. Okay. This is huge. Quitting feels easy when you don't know why you're doing it. Let me say that again. Quitting feels easy when you don't know why you're doing it. Now, after coaching over 100 men, the one common denominator is the guys who always get the best results are the ones who had a strong why. Maybe you just want to be most optimally healthy for yourself, for longevity. Maybe it's because you want to truly attract your ideal partner and you want to bring your best package. Maybe you want to set a good example for your kids, for your future family, right? Having a strong why, having a mission at the end of the day. Whatever it is that you're doing, you want to attract the right partner. You want to build that business. You want to excel in your career. You want to build your body. You have to have a strong why, because life gets tough. Things are tough. When you step into the arena, which most people aren't willing to do, most people are just going to talk about you behind your back or talk shit and be, these fucking keyboard warriors that just type away their fucking opinions as if it matters, right? But anyway, you've got to have purpose, because that's going to be long-standing when things get tough, when you don't feel like doing it, when it's raining outside, when it's cold outside. Do you get up at 5 a.m. and go for that run? because you're committed to it. When you're sore, when you've got, and you should rest, guys, but, you're not always going to be feeling 100%. Most of the time you're not. But you have to believe in what you're doing. And YouTube is tough. I started YouTube and there's a lot of rejection. It's hard. There's a lot of skill involved and there's a lot of sacrifices involved, and it takes a long time. It's a very slow burn, but you have to love it. You have to enjoy it. And I believe in what I'm doing here with the Ascended Man, helping you forge strength for life, mental, physical, spiritual armor. You have to believe in what you're doing. And the last point is resilience becomes identity. Resilience becomes identity. Each time you crush that goal, when you crush that hard workout, you take L after L, rejection from the job search, from job applications, rejection after rejection, you learn more. Rejection with women, you learn more about yourself. You're getting the reps in. You're becoming more resilient, and you're callousing your mind over time. You're callousing your body. You're callousing your mind, right? And that helps you in life. And there's something actually called the compound effect, where it can work in the inverse as well. So the compound effect is when you are putting an effort towards something, towards goals, and consistently chipping away at it, giving it your best, showing up. Eventually, the way the universe works is eventually it will align to that and things will work out. Eventually, you're going to get a sale. Eventually, you're going to meet the right woman. Eventually, if you stick it out long enough, you're going to get the physique that you want. Eventually, the business will work, or maybe it won't, and then you learn something valuable from it. But you can achieve what you want if you just keep showing up consistently and see that the struggle is a necessary struggle for you to go through. The necessary endurance of struggle and pain and hardship and all these things that are molding you into who you are today. I wouldn't even be able to sit here and talk to you guys like this right now and even be worth watching if I hadn't even gone through some shit in my life to actually give you valuable insights. But I have, and it's made me the man I am today. I actually have a quote on my side, a tattoo, and it says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another." And it's through, the experiences together that we have with your brothers and on your own solo journey that sharpen you and mold you. So embrace the struggle, embrace the hardship, seek pain, seek discomfort. And that's all I got for you guys today, man. But like the video if it resonated. Comment down below. Let me know what you're going through. Subscribe because I'm dropping videos every single week. And if you want to actually make a change in your life once and for all, whether it's attracting beautiful women, whether it's getting that six-pack or just looking good with your shirt off, having more confidence, figuring out what your purpose is, because I mentioned that, the power of purpose, your mission. I created a free 40-minute training. The link is in the description. Check it out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.